Mother Yasoda has her own special cows that give special high quality, best quality milk. Not all the cows give the same quality milk. And there's a whole other lila also in connection with taking milk from the best cows. So like this, some milk was boiling on the stove, and Mother Yashoda was holding her baby Krishna and feeding him, breastfeeding him, while the milk was boiling. But all of a sudden she heard some noise. Oh, the milk is overflowing. So immediately she put down baby Krishna and she ran in the kitchen. Krishna was all by himself and felt, because it happened so quickly, he felt greatly disturbed. My mother has left me alone and I hadn't finished my meal yet. I was in the middle of sucking her milk, and she just left me here like this. So Krishna became a little bit angry. So children have a mind of their own, we were discussing a little bit yesterday. So Mother Yashoda was still in the kitchen, busy, and then baby Krishna, he decided in his mind, let me go and steal, because in the early days, yogurt and buttermilk and all of these different preparations were kept in a special place. So anyways, baby Krishna, he purposely in his mind decided, let me go and steal. I know I'm not supposed to, but I will do it anyways, because my mother has left me alone. So he went, and then he, because he was still feeling hungry. Mother is not there, so let me go to the second source, where all the different milk preparations are kept. So he broke some pots of yogurt, and he took to his full satisfaction, and then he actually left that place because he heard his mother coming. He heard the footsteps of Mother Yashoda not far away, so he knew he was doing something he should not be doing. So he started, actually Mother Yashoda was thinking, oh, she had forgotten about the milk, and now she had forgotten about Krishna, while she was busy with the milk. Then after putting some order in the kitchen, she started looking, where's my baby Krishna? So then she came and she saw different pots of yogurt broken. Immediately she could understand, oh, Krishna became upset because I left him alone. He was still hungry, so he went and he broke pots, but actually he shouldn't do that. So she started looking for Krishna, and then she spotted him. Then she had actually a small stick, and she was thinking that I should tie him, because I not finished my work actually in the kitchen, and if he is left by himself, he will again possibly make some mischief. So she started running after Krishna, and so can you just imagine Mother Yashoda running after? Of course, Krishna probably could have run away, but he allowed Mother Yashoda to catch him, because he was a small child, couldn't run so fast. Finally, Mother Yashoda, she caught up to Krishna. By this time, Krishna, he was having a hard time breathing because he was very fearful. He knew his mother, Mother Yashoda, was upset. And he was very fearful also because he saw this stick in her hand. And also a robe. So the very wonderful prayers that we recite and chant every evening during this month describes actually this whole pastime of Mother Yashoda running after baby Krishna and finally catching him. And then in her mind she wants to tie baby Krishna. She already had enough, she thought she had enough rope. She thought she had enough rope to tie Krishna, baby Krishna. But after tying him, somehow she couldn't make the knot. Always there was a few inches short. So then she went inside, got some more rope, tied that, and again still. So that went on for some time. So that whole lila is describing how actually, although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he acts as an ordinary child. But he's not an ordinary child. He acts as an ordinary child in order for his mother, Mother Yashoda, to express motherly love and motherly affection for him. And Mother Yashoda, she, not only Mother Yashoda, but actually all the residents of Vrindavan, they don't think that Krishna is God actually. They know he's a special child, very lovable child, but he's considered as, as their lovable child, and they just out of affection deal with him in various different ways. Mother Yashoda as an ideal and exemplary mother. She has these kind of what we call, what seems to be very natural and normal dealings between a mother and a child. Of course, Krishna, he explains in the Bhagavad Gita that avajananti mam mudha manushim tanam asritam param bhavam bhajanti, that I appear in this material world in a human form. But those who are atheistic or those who are not purified in consciousness, they cannot understand or know my real nature, my param bhavam, my supreme nature. Because Krishna, as we see even in this pastime, he acts like an ordinary child. So in this way, Krishna allows himself to be chastised by his mother, and Krishna, as an ideal, normal child, he also expresses fear, and tears are rolling from his eyes. So in this way, we are able to see the natural affection that is displayed between Mother Yashoda and her child Krishna. And for the devotees of the Lord, this particular pastime and many other similar pastimes where Krishna exchanges in this way, either with his parents or with other residents of Vrindavan, they bring immense transcendental pleasure and happiness to the residents of Vrindavan. Because these are natural, spontaneous, loving exchanges that take place. We were discussing this a little bit yesterday, that perfection of life, actually, perfection for the living entity is to again regain these loving exchanges. And all of us, just like we are here in the material world, and those of us, of course, who are sitting and attending Sunday Feast program here in Jodhpur today, we're very fortunate in that, well, we have some understanding that Krishna is there, the residents of Vrindavan are there, enacting eternally wonderful pastimes, and we are meant to be connected. We are beginning to understand about, actually we are also devotees of Krishna, but we still have not understood our actual eternal identity, isn't it? We may know that we are, yes, finally I know that I'm not this body, but I'm a servant of Krishna, but we still don't know what is the specialty of my service eternally, and that is called the Nitya Swarup, the eternal relationship and the eternal form. All of us actually have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And until we unveil, until we understand this eternal relationship with Krishna, then we are wandering in the material world, you see. Vrindavan is that place where all of the residents of Vrindavan are on that platform of their eternal relationship with Krishna. And therefore, we hear about the pastimes of Vrindavan as being Nitya lila, eternal pastimes. For Vaishnavas, we all know how actually this Gokul Dham, this in the material world, Krishna manifests the same spiritual reality which is existing in Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna resides eternally in Goloka Vrindavan, and he manifests that same Goloka Vrindavan, you see, in this material world, in Vrindavan, and in this way gives us a little glimpse as to how he is eternally in the spiritual world, enacting very wonderful, very pleasing, very inspiring pastimes with his devotees. And our goal and our business actually is to return to that Goloka Vrindavan, you see, in the spiritual world. And we can begin. What is very wonderful is actually that we can begin even within this material world by understanding and knowing about Krishna's activities when he himself descends in the material world, and whether it is as a child in Vrindavan or as a young man when he goes to Mathura, or as a full grown-up adult when he is in Dwarka and playing the role of a king. All of these different pastimes are meant to actually help all of us. But as we mentioned yesterday, actually, our acharyas point out that of all of the pastimes of Krishna, the most attractive pastimes are the ones that actually take place in Vrindavan, especially when Krishna is still very, very young, Bala Krishna, when he is under the age of 5 and enacting so many different wonderful pastimes. So these pastimes I was mentioning yesterday are meant to be heard, they're meant to be sung, they are meant to be remembered. And as we do this, then naturally we become purified in consciousness. We develop some attraction for knowing more about these pastimes, for appreciating these natural loving exchanges that are taking place, between all of the different residents of Vrindavan, where Krishna remains always the focus and the center of attraction. Therefore, our acharyas, they speak about, and Srila Prabhupada was as well explaining how we need, wherever we may be, we need to develop this atmosphere, this mood of Vrindavan. Just like in Vrindavan, the lives of the residents of Vrindavan is very simple, focused on pleasing Krishna, and in this way Krishna is reciprocating according to the desire of his devotees. So wherever we may be, even we don't have to be living physically in Vrindavan, but we can create. Lord Chaitanya actually exemplifies that mentality when he explains that Vrindavan is actually where the heart is. Vrindavan is not some physical place. That's why they said one cannot actually buy a ticket to go to Mathura. You can go to Mathura by ticket, but you're not necessarily entering into the spirit of Mathura or Vrindavan. So Mathura Vrindavan is actually a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness which can be appreciated as one becomes more and more purified in consciousness. And therefore, it means that if somebody purifies one's consciousness by especially taking to the chanting of the holy name and to performing various activities of devotional service, wherever one may be, and one may be like in as far away as Russia or Canada, where I'm from, wherever it may be, if that consciousness is developed, one can actually be residing in Vrindavan. And the more we become perfect in doing that, then when that moment will come, and it will come for all of us to actually leave this material world, if we have already developed that consciousness, then to transfer to the spiritual world will be like this, very, very quick, very easy, very simple, because we will already be living, in the atmosphere and in the consciousness of Vrindavan. So Lord Chaitanya, in his manifest pastimes, he actually taught how living in separation is even a higher form of loving sentiment. Because Lord Chaitanya, he went once in Vrindavan, and most of his life, as we know, was spent in Jagannath Puri. But Lord Chaitanya was constantly absorbed, isn't it, in the mood of Vrindavan. And whoever came in contact with Lord Chaitanya also developed that same sentiment, same mood as Lord Chaitanya. So the movement inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya, the same movement that Srila Prabhupada has so gloriously taken up and introduced all over the world, is in this way actually giving so many living entities the opportunity to come in contact with Vrindavan, with the various residents of Vrindavan, and to learn how to develop that that mood, that sentiment. And of course, Kartik comes only once during the year, but the sentiments that we try to evoke or develop within the month of Kartik, it is not only for the month of Kartik. Every single day, actually, we have the opportunity to remember. We should actually endeavor to remember Vrindavan, because that is our destination. Our destination, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our goal is to actually go back to Goloka Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the Brahma Samhita, he explains very nicely how in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, there are two Nitya Leelas going on simultaneously. The Nitya Leela of Krishna, Krishna Leela, and the Nitya Leela of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaura Leela. So Gaura Leela and Krishna Leela, they are taking place simultaneously. And what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains is that something very wonderful awaits those devotees who are the followers of Lord Chaitanya. Something very unique that one does not find in any other place. Those who are the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, who have taken up the Harinam Sankirtan and perfected their lives by applying nicely the principles of devotional service, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Once they leave this material world and return to the spiritual world, they will simultaneously have the opportunity to participate, inconceivable to us actually, in a very inconceivable way. The followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will participate simultaneously in Gaura Leela and Krishna Leela. I mean, even to participate in one of them is wonderful. What to speak of both Leelas, because sometimes the devotees are in a dilemma, especially those who come from outside of India. Should I go to Vrindavan or should I go to Mayapur? Because Mayapur is on the east side, and then, I mean, Vrindavan is on the north side, quite far away. Of course, both in Vrindavan, Mayapur Leelas are going on, and in Mayapur, Vrindavan Leelas are going on. Mayapur is referred to as Gupta Vrindavan as well. Somebody was mentioning here in Rajasthan is also Gupta Vrindavan somewhere. Yesterday somebody was mentioning. So this is the wonderful opportunity that all of us have actually by coming in contact with the teachings given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada explains that my great fortune was that I was, by Krishna's arrangement, born in a family of Vaishnavas, like my Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada explains. And somehow I became involved in helping my Guru Maharaj spread this mission of Lord Chaitanya especially outside of India, to the English-speaking world. And as we all know, Srila Prabhupada has done this in a very glorious way. But he is giving, he continues to give an opportunity to so many living entities, both here in India as well as outside, to also participate and assist in this very great mission of spreading Krishna consciousness, which ultimately means actually spreading the glories of Vrindavan, you see, explaining how Vrindavan is so important to all of us, and how, especially during this month of Kartik, devotees from all over India, they perform special parikrama during this time. And of course, how many devotees here have been to Vrindavan during the month of Kartik? During the month of Kartik? Okay, quite a few, about half, maybe more than half. That's very good. Possibly we can take a few questions or comments if there are any. Yes, Prabhu.
Can I ask a question which is not related to today's discussion?
I have to ask local authorities. Can he do that? Huh? Oh, Prabhu, can he do that?
What is difference between Muni and Rishi?
What is the difference between Muni and Rishi? Good question. Muni we generally refer to as someone who has various kinds of knowledge. For us who are Vaishnavas, a Muni will not necessarily be a devotee or Vaishnava. Munis very often, they are very thoughtful personalities, and they will know many things, including maybe some spiritual things. Rishi, we find the word Rishi like in the Bhagavad Gita. We were quoting this verse, Evam param parapraptam imam rajarshayo rajarshi, Raja Rishi. Previously kings, they were Raja and Rishi combined. It means they were very learned in Shastra. They were expected to actually represent the principles of Dharma. Actual Rishi, we speak about many of our acharyas, great personalities, as Rishi. We don't refer to our Vaishnavas as Munis. Muni is at best maybe Mayavadi. Generally Muni will tend to be more Mayavadi. So there's a bit of a fine line. There's a fine line between Muni and Rishi. Rishi, at least my understanding, is that it is more in terms of someone who is, we refer to many of our exalted acharyas as rishis. Means they are very well versed in the science of dharma, and they teach that knowledge that they have also. So a Muni, a Rishi will automatically also be having so much of knowledge, but a Muni may not necessarily be a Rishi. Sometimes the difference may not be so big, but in general. Is that okay? You can look it up in the dictionary.